Welcome to the Small Business Breakthrough Podcast, where every week we're interviewing special guests that support small businesses. These are small businesses themselves. Some of these businesses have been in business for a very long time, and in today's case, have actually changed ownership. We'll get into that story in a minute, but I want to welcome Kendra Santiago, the co-owner of Smith Bates Marcom Solutions, and they're in the business of making your business look really good. And we're going to learn more about how they do that as we begin our conversation today. Welcome to the show, Kendra.
Thank you so much, Jason. I'm so happy to be here.
Can you give us that quick introduction as to what your business does and the problems that you're solving for your clients?
Absolutely. So Smith Bates is traditionally a printing company. We've been in business for over 100 years. We actually don't know what year the business started, but somewhere in the 1920s, has been in continuous operation that entire time. And as our clients' needs have changed, we have a long-standing history of really shifting to adjust and meet our clients' needs. So we have in-house graphic design services. We have large-scale print production. We do fulfillment for our clients. So we're warehousing and fulfilling for their various locations. We do promotional items and merchandise, and we also do apparel for our clients, in addition to website and digital marketing. So we are kind of a one-stop shop for anything branded. And just love looking at our clients from a 360-degree perspective of their marketing needs that they have.
Wow, that's so interesting because I've had a lot of digital marketers and we've talked, I mean, that seems to be the trend, right?
Mhm.
So to have a company that has learned to adapt with the times and still does that print media is so impressive. What is that what has that looked like for you as you came into the business actually working for while working to acquire and make it
Mhm.
into your own as a co-owner? What does it look like as you're looking at those transitional periods to be able to, still operate in that old school print world and
Mhm.
move into digital marketing?
I think it really, so much of that knowledge is very transferable. And I say that with regard to just take color, like knowing what colors look good and work well on a white piece of paper is very transferable to what's going to work well and draw people's eye on a digital media or on apparel or a promotional item. So, while in the past, are those markets that, you had your apparel person that knew how to do embroidery really well, and you had your print guy over here that knew how to put ink on paper, and they kind of worked in their own silos. We have been able to transition and take so much of that knowledge that is very similar between all of these different mediums. So, it's been overwhelming at the forefront, but in hindsight, you really kind of already had that knowledge to be able to do those things for your clients. So
Yeah, that's amazing. And your story is definitely an interesting one. What inspired you to decide to become an owner in Smith Bates?
So I've always wanted to be a business owner. So even when I was in high school, I chose to go to college for business because I felt that that was going to be my best path to do that. But I really felt like it was important for me to get boots on the ground experience. I didn't want to just dive right in. And so uh, my husband and I had looked at acquisitions of different companies, and my story is one that really goes to show the value of relationships and how you never know who you're working with today, what your relationship might be with them down the road. Because I was a customer of Smith Bates since I graduated college and was working for a large building products manufacturer. And then from there, I transitioned to a role that was very community engagement focused and still worked with Smith Bates. And the opportunity to buy Smith Bates is one where the prior owners came to me and asked me if I'd ever thought about buying a business and if I'd ever thought Smith Bates could be that business. Which at that point it had never occurred to me that the business was for sale. So of course that would have never crossed my mind. Um, and in hindsight, I feel like the path that I walked as I learned all of those things in my other roles I had really fed so well into this experience of being a business owner in this industry. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes to show in the stories of everything that you're doing as a business owner and growing as you're growing. all of it's for a reason. All of it comes together towards the end. I have a similar situation where a similar story where I reached out to a business in 2012 and said, "Hey, if you're ever interested, I'll buy you." And in 2018, we ended up buying that company. And that was the last company that I owned. So it's all about relationships. And it's so, so engaging to be able to hear and inspirational to be able to hear those stories of like, just keep going and keep building the relationships because you never know who you're going to meet. If you've ever opened your laptop ready to grow your business and 2 hours later closed it, realizing you've gotten nothing done, but you've researched office chairs, you've ordered lunch, and you've planned out the next 3 dinners, all the things that you wouldn't typically do to work on your business. Yeah, I've done that too. I'm Jason Pond. I'm the host of the Small Business Breakthrough Podcast, and I want you to achieve your breakthrough. But we do that through the community I built. I built the Momentum Community. The Momentum Community is a place where we meet every week. We talk about your goals, where you want to get with your business, and then we track them. And we use the Momentum dashboard to do that. We make sure you're moving forward every week, and it's accountability like you've never seen in a community forum. I want you to be part of that community. If you want to learn more about it, check out the link in the description below and enjoy the rest of the episode. So you've had successes, but with that, buying a business is not an easy feat.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges you've had to overcome in the last couple of years as you went through that process?
Yeah, I think so. I'm very fortunate. My husband and I are co-owners of our business with another couple. And my husband and my business partner's wife are both accountants. Um, but they have full-time jobs. And so I feel like having that knowledge in the background has been great, but it is definitely, they're not here every single day. And so I think the financial acumen has been the largest growth for us, as kind of the people, David Johnson's my business partner that's here every day with me. As we're here every day, like walking the walk and talking the talk, those are the things that we've had to really skill up on. And it's been nice to have our spouses in the wings to kind of support us and teach us along the way. But being the full-time face of the company, we're the ones that are having to practice that every single day and learn that to implement that every single day.
Yeah, that the challenge of understanding the numbers is
Yeah.
big in how businesses operate. It's how you build relationships with your banks. It's how you build relationships with vendors, is understanding all of those things. And that is definitely critical, especially where you're at. And that's definitely a big challenge to overcome. You've alluded to a little bit of this at the beginning, but I want to dive a little bit further into what differentiates Smith Bates from another of it, really any of its competitors. And it's really unique because I think your competitors are falling by the wayside more than that, and you're being successful. So what really is leading to that success and differentiates you from them?
I would say our biggest differentiator is more of a value than a tangible thing. Like I think there's a lot of companies out there that are capable of doing what we do, but at our most basic, our driving force is to help people. And that, even drives us as on a personal level. I want to be helpful, and knowing that that's kind of the basis and that's our springboard for where we move from helps us approach our clients from a perspective of, we're not here to make money for you. In fact, I've coached my clients on things that they want to do that would make me a lot of money, but feel like that doesn't lend to their long-term success. And I would say we do have competitors out there that are slowing down a little bit. But at the same time, I come from a spirit of collaboration, not competition. And in the marketing world, especially working with small businesses, more power to somebody out there who can do a good job for our small businesses, right? That's working in a marketing space, because marketing gets a bad rap a lot of times. And I think bad marketing gives marketing a bad rap. Good marketing helps people understand the power of marketing and helps them grow and be more willing to invest in additional marketing. And so I don't come from an adversarial perspective of our competitors. I actually come from a perspective of please do it good because then it makes all of our job a lot better and our businesses grow that we're working with and they then get to spend more money with us and on and on and on, right? So
No, that's a fantastic way to look at it. There are so many benefits to co-opetition, as we have put it, in some of the companies that I've worked with in the past. Is we may be direct competitors in a space, but if we cooperate together, the ultimate thing is the end user. It's the
right.
customer, right? And so while we're not necessarily the best fit for every customer, neither are they. As long as we're making sure that it's the right fit for the customer, we're moving forward and having a great way to do that. What would you say is a recent initiative? You've only you're fairly short-lived inside of the specific company, just over a
Mhm.
couple years, but what's a recent initiative that has been super energizing for you?
There's a lot of them. One of ours, it's a smaller project, but it is an exciting project for me. And this comes from maybe having a value of relationship and caring about the community that we're in. We're working with our local hospital to develop a trade show booth right now, and that trade show booth is going to be used by their physical therapy department to help showcase we're based in Southern Oregon, which is gorgeous and tons of outdoors activities. We're in a smaller community, so a lot of perks to that. But we're basically getting to spotlight and showcase our community in this trade show booth that we're working on. It's going to end up going to Texas, and I just can't wait to hear what they say when they come back. All the people that maybe have a connection to Oregon or didn't realize kind of the amazing outdoor amenities we have for those people that are looking for that in their lives. So,
Yeah. Oh, that sounds amazing. What, this company has been around for a long time. As you said, it's been, maybe in the 1920s, but you've been working with it as a customer for many years. And now that it's your own and you guys are starting to grow it and build it and go, and you're looking to the future, right? That's what is the next 5 to 10 years look like for Smith Bates?
I think the next 5 to 10 years, we will be more vertically integrated than we are now with some of the technology and processes that we're able to produce on site. And one of our goals where we'd like to grow is the fulfillment side of our business. And when I say fulfillment, people that have worked for larger brands or larger corporations are probably familiar with like the company brand store where you can go on and get if you work for State Farm Insurance, for example, you can go on and get your State Farm swag and your sweater and your coffee cup and all the things. We're looking to grow that for our smaller companies that we work with. It may not be as large as like a State Farm or a national brand. And what that does for those companies, it really frees up their HR and their marketing teams so that they're not the ones receiving and fulfilling orders. We're able to warehouse and set up storefronts for them and manage that on our end. Kind of the on-demand nature of some of those requests will be done on demand by our company.
Yeah, wow, that's very, very cool. I've worked with companies that have their own swag and the website and work through it, but they house their own inventory and sometimes they're out of stock and sometimes they're not, but it takes personnel to be able to manage all of that. And you want your team really supporting the company and getting that name out there. So it's very important. That's a very neat initiative that you're working forward. You're very customer forward focused, which is an impressive feat and why I think it brings big name into why Smith Bates is still in existence today and but much success to go forward. So as we wrap up that part of the interview, are we ready to jump in and have some of our lightning hot seat questions?
We'll see. Hit me with.
Don't worry. A lot of people stress it's not that hard. The
Okay,
first question is super easy though. Coffee or tea?
coffee.
How about cats or dogs?
Ooh. Today it's cats, but and another day it might be dogs. So
I like that one. That's a first. I love that one though, because there are days that I like my cat and there are days that I love my dog. So
yeah,
like
there you go.
there are days where they're not on my happy list. So
Yeah.
if you could grab only one weapon or item during a zombie apocalypse, what would it be?
Baseball bat comes to mind.
Okay, there you go. Very good. How about a favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
Ooh. Um, oh man, you put me on the spot now. My mind went totally blank. Yeah, I'll have to come back to that one. Give me a minute on that one.
Okay, maybe this will help influence that.
Okay.
What's one book that has influenced your life the most?
Uh, it sounds cheesy, but years ago when I first graduated college, I read What Color is My Parachute? And I did you know, I really invested in that book. And I think from that, that's really helped lend perspective to the choices I've made in my career moving forward.
That's powerful. How about the biggest obstacle that you've had to overcome and one lesson you have learned from it?
Oh, let's see. Well, let's see. So I have two young children, and when my youngest was just 6 months old, my husband lost his job. And during that time, he also decided to change careers, which I was supportive of. Happy spouse makes everybody's lives a little bit easier. But I would say it was a very humbling experience to kind of walk through. And I think it's really helped me feel, once you've kind of failed at something, it's a lot easier to move forward and not be so afraid of things that would have normally made you stressed or afraid in the past. So I would say that was excellent journey to walk through and has really given me more confidence and faith to move forward and taking risks and making sound decisions.
Failure, it will bring the best out of some that are willing to be able to progress forward and make progress with it. It has been a fantastic interview, Kendra. How can our listeners get a hold of you or if they want to work with Smith Bates?
So one of the best ways to find out more about Smith Bates and reach out to me personally is on our website, which is www.smithbates.com. You can actually book time on my calendar there. You can look for us on social media, Smith Bates Marcom Solutions, or you can just email me directly, which is kendra@smithbates.com, Kendra.
Sounds great. That all of that information will be in the show notes or the description if you are watching this on YouTube. And I want to thank you, Kendra, for being in the podcast today. It has been such a great journey to hear about the successes of from 1920s. It's almost 100-year-old or over 100-year-old company that has made different transitions over the times and where you're going to be able to take it in the future and continue to support your customers. Appreciate you being on the podcast today. And for those listeners out there, I would love if you would like to learn more about other businesses that are helping. You can hit the playlist for our Small Business Breakthrough series up here in the corner. And as always, until next time.